Okay, we'll see how we can insert the data into a database.
Okay.
Customers from Flatfile to DB.
వేమా నాకు మీ స్క్రీన్ కనిపించట్లేదు.
Okay, sorry. So customers from Flatfile to DB. First we'll see how we can create a process that will load the data from Flatfile to database.
ఓకే, అండ్ ద అదర్ వే అరౌండ్ కూడా చేయొచ్చా, డేటాబేస్ టు ఫ్లాట్ ఫైల్ అవుతుంది అండ్ వైస్ వర్సా, బోత్ వేస్?
Both we can do.
ఓకే.
Okay, so let's configure.
వేమా జస్ట్ గివ్ మీ 1 సెకండ్.
Okay.
వేమా సారీ అబౌట్ ఇట్, గో అహెడ్.
So I'm just configuring a certificate connector to read the flat file. So this is the
మామూలుగా ఫ్లాట్ ఫైల్ డిస్క్ నుంచి మామూలు లోకల్ డిస్క్ నుంచి కూడా తీసుకోవచ్చు కదా, ఐ మీన్ ఎనీథింగ్ ద సేమ్ రైట్?
yeah, we can see, we can even get from local distance. We have the directory here. So the once we file is read from blank file, and then we need to configure the database connector. Let's configure the database connector now.
అంటే స్టార్ట్ లో మీరు బేసికలీ డైరెక్టరీ పాత్ ఇచ్చినారా, హౌ ఇస్ ఇట్ లైక్?
See, SFTP మనం ఇంతకుముందు ఆల్రెడీ కాన్ఫిగర్ చేసాం.
అవును, కరెక్ట్.
So nothing I'm doing special here. Only thing is I'm just configuring the file name and direct information to read the file from proper directory. Now we'll just see how we can work with the database connector. First drag and drop the database connector. And now we need to insert the data. Insert. So insert will be a send. Insert, update, delete. All DML statement will go into outbound connector. That's the action send. Only select statement will be coming.
వేమా మీ వాయిస్ ఇవాళ ఎందుకో క్లియర్ లేదు వేమా, ఐ కెనాట్ అండర్స్టాండ్. 1 సెకండ్, ఆర్ లెట్ మీ అడ్జస్ట్ మై వాల్యూమ్.
I think మీ సైడ్ ప్రాబ్లం ఉంది ఏదో. నా సైడ్ అసలు డిస్టర్బెన్స్ లేదు.
ఓకే, లెట్ మీ, యా గో హెడ్ వేమా, సారీ.
Okay. So all DML statement we have to use the send action. And only for DML statement includes insert, update, delete, all we have to use the send action. And for the select statement we need to use the get action. So since we are going to insert the data into a database, so let's select the action called send. So let's try to create the connection now. Click on plus database connection. These are some there are some predefined values will be there, and select Oracle. Select Oracle. So by default with the installation of an Atom, you will get that you need to have a JDBC drivers to connect to the corresponding database. But those JDBC drivers with the installation of Atom, You'll get only the you'll get the JDBC drivers only for a Oracle database and SQL Server. If you are trying to
Mm-hmm.
use if you are trying to use any other databases, if you are trying to configure with database connector for any other database vendors, and then you need to first configure the atom with corresponding JDBC drivers. So for that, how do we configure JDBC drivers? We need what jar file we need to keep. That will be given in the help document. Go for public, for technology, go for database connector. So database connector is given to select and select the database. Database connector stores all the relevant connection details. Database, however, the connector does not contain SQL statement. Those are in the database files. Um, There will be atmosphere uses a JDBC to connect to a database. You need a JDBC driver for each type of a database you want to connect. The database connector comes preloaded with the JDBC driver for Microsoft SQL Server and Oracle. So no additional steps are needed for these databases.
Okay, so Microsoft and Oracle. Okay.
SQL Server and then Oracle. By default, will be Atom will be loaded with the JDBC corresponding JDBC driver. To connect to a different type of a database, you need to obtain a JDBC driver from that database and configure it in Atom. The database vendor should be able to provide this driver. These third-party companies all commercial. So, like if you are installing SQL Server, if you are installing MySQL, so the MySQL you will be having the drivers will be gets installed in the lib folder. So you need to get the library jar file, and you need to configure this to Boomi. If you are unable to find
Okay.
a JDBC driver for database, consider using JDBC ODBC bridge. See the topic about creating ODBC connection. This is different. Now, the database connector supports any database that has a JDBC driver. See the common example includes. These are all it can support. Apache Derby and IBM DB2, Microsoft ODBC, Microsoft SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL, any other JDBC or ODBC compliant database, it can able to support it.
Which one you said? Which one is it? You're saying the ODBC, right?
Yeah, any other databases that will rely on JDBC or ODBC. So another thing is, if the as I told you that this database connector, if you are configuring other than the Oracle and SQL Server, you need to configure the drivers. So you need to place that a JDBC driver install and configure. A database connector contains a drivers for Microsoft SQL Oracle Server. To connect to any other types of database, you must obtain the appropriate JDBC driver. Any driver files that you are added to Atom must be copied into this particular directory, user lib database. This is a folder path you need to create in your Atom root directory. So if user lib does not exist, you must create it, then restart the Atom. So this is the additional step you need to do if you are configuring other than the Oracle and MySQL server. Only thing you need to do, you need to configure the JDBC driver. Another thing, an Atom database connector requires the following prerequisite. You can see the prerequisite. An Atom deployed locally to the database server or to another machine within your network that can access it. It means that if you are trying to use the database, and your Atom also should be either in the same machine or it might be in the same network, then only the database connector will work. You cannot access database connector with cloud Atom, because the database will be sitting here and cloud will be sitting here. The cloud Atom will be installing cloud.
Okay.
This condition it has to be satisfied. An Atom deployed locally to the database server. Wherever the database server is installed, if an Atom is deployed locally, then it's fine. Otherwise, and it might be deployed to another machine, but both are should be in the same network.
Okay.
Okay, that's the only thing we need to understand. And then let's go into here. And yesterday we already created the table. And other thing we mentioned here, a database and tables. Database connector does not create tables and other objects. A database connector does not do any DML statements. Sorry, DDR statements like create, alter, and all these things. Only you can able to either do DML statements, insert, update, delete, and only select statements.
Okay, so you mean to say the drivers can only do the DDL operations?
Cannot do
I mean to say
database connector
cannot do.
cannot do DDL operations. Okay, since we install on the same machine and giving local host, the port would be default. It will be installed on 1521, and database name would be XE since it is an express edition. So this port
The
number you can
port
see.
1521 basically is a default port.
Yes, this you can see when you click on when you installing the installation summary. You can see this one port number. So after you when you installing, you will be entering username and password, right? Sorry, password and confirmation password. After that, you'll be showing you the installation summary before installing. So now on that you can see the port number. This is a port number you can see. Another one is yesterday we have seen how to access the browser client. That also will be
Yes.
installed at some particular client called port 8080. So both these details you can see from the installation summary.
So if I want to connect it to that web browser, I need to put this port as 8080.
So by default, when you are accessing the port, shortcut, it automatically takes the same default port number. Let's say if you all apps, go to database homepage. See here, because there might be another service was running on my system, or my service or service.msc service might have been stopped. Need to check that. Because if any other application is installed on the same port number, then browser client will not be accessible. I think it has not yet started. It will take some time to start. Now the
Or
database name would be XE since it is an expression. These are the default values. Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying, or you can take the remote assistance. Use my connection is already up and
Yeah, my database will work. Let's see. Okay, now is 7 close, and then you need to create an operation. While creating an operation, first thing, mandatory thing is it has to be create a profile. Create a profile. What exactly the profile will contain? Profile will contain the field information. Apart from the field information, even it will be having the statement, SQL statement. So let's see, the import wizard is not highlighted if you see that. That import wizard will be highlighted once you select the statement. Okay. And once you select the statement, you have a different options here.
there parameters ఉండవా? There are no parameters there.
Yes, yes, we'll come back to that. So there is a different types here. One is standard insert update delete. It means you can write your own query and you can add your parameters manually. You can write your own query. Standard insert update delete. You can write the insert update delete queries here. And then you can corresponding to the each and every column you will be defining one field here. If you are not interested to write a query on your end, what you can do, you can just go with the dynamic insert. It means that it will be asking you to configure this profile elements from the database table metadata. So let's see how we can do that. Click on the import wizard, select the atom. So I want to filter the schema. I don't want to filter all the tables from the all the users. I want to see only the users from the Boomi. It is connecting. You can see this login page. By default, it will be accessible at 8080. Okay, you can see that there are multiple tables are available. So in this example, I'm just using the customers. You go next. So it depends on requirement. Select all the columns or specific columns. Click on finish. You can see as of now the fields did not have any values here, and also the table name also will be empty. You can see the table name is automatically selected here, while the table name got filled and the fields also got automatically came. But with this import wizard, what is advantage is, so there may be possibility when you are defining, when you are creating a field here and specifying a data type, if this particular data type is not matching with the underlying database column data type, then it will throw an error. So, but with this import wizard, it will not have that problem. It automatically connects to the database and it will be import. It will be creating a profile based on the metadata of the table. So whatever the column name is there, column name and type is there, same column name and type will be set here. So this is a one advantage. And here, as the name says, a dynamic insert, it automatically on the fly it will create a query, insert query to insert all these data. So I'll show you when after the execution time we'll see what query it will be generating. Like commit options, how do you want to, because each and every DML statement, as I told yesterday, it needs the commit option. Without commit, you're not able to uh, 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 save the database, save to database permanently. So how do you want to commit? Do you want to commit by number of rows or commit by profile? So a number of rows means, like, let's say the flat file has 1 million records, and how do you want to commit? By number of rows, like every number of rows you want to specify like this. The number of rows you want to commit are by profile. The profile means, so whatever the profile structure it is have, as soon as the profile is loaded, and then it will be committing will be performing.
So, but in which case it will be committed, right? Which
Yes,
means the data will be saved.
yes. So as of now we have configured database. As of now we have configured the database connector. Now, so since the database connector has using a database profile, and we are using the flat file data. So we both are a different data types. So what we need to do, we need to do the translation of a data from the flat file to database profile.
So, Vema, just quick question here.
Mhm.
So basically, the profile when you are creating a data through a database hunter, like when you are creating a profile, it typically consists of a statement, right? Which can be any statement, like say a DML or anything, right? And that again has once you insert that into it with the table, and then all the fields kind of populated. So is there any way where we can put parameters to those fields?
What parameters you mean to say? This is
Like
already
because
defined parameters, right? These are all parameters only, right?
okay, but generally in the enterprise edition, I see another thing here called as parameters under the fields.
So
So I'm not too sure.
that will be for select statement, not for the dynamic insert or update. That would be for not for the send action. For get action, you will see that.
Okay,
Even for dynamic
fine.
update also, you will see it.
In the get action, okay.
See here, conditions, dynamic update, dynamic delete also will be having the conditions. Because for the insert there is no kind of a filtering criteria. For update and delete we have a filtering criteria. That's the reason you don't see the parameters here.
Okay,
So since we need to do the translation of the data from the flat file profile to an XML sorry, database profile, so let's create a map to do the same. You can choose and select the flat file profile here. Select the database profile, map these fields. Now we are ready to run the process. So when I run the process, it will be insert the records into database. Let's see. Save this. So this process will be failure because of both the one that declared date is this format, but this format will not accepted by the database. Database will be accepting in a different format. This is what the error message says. Unable to set date and time. Value 2016. This is does not match the format. Does not match the format. This is expected format, but we are sending the data in this format. So in the maps, we need to do the translation of a date format from here, from this format to this format. So let's see how we can do that. So for the date types, we have two functions here. We have date types. We have two functions here. First, let's go for time zone offset. What is the expected one? So we need to see what is the time format is matching with the available time zone. Year, month, day, hours, minutes, seconds. hours, minutes, seconds, and then milliseconds plus time zone. Let's see what time zone it will have this one. This looks to be same. Yes, month, date, hours, minutes, seconds, and then milliseconds, and then time zone. You can see the time zone sample value. So I need to convert from here to, so this is my source format. Okay, let's go into here and we can use all the functions available here. I'm just showing one of the example is a date function. So since we have a date, go for date. So get current date means it will automatically generates the current date will be generated and today's date will be generated and the same will be mapped to there. And let's select the date format. And what is the date string you need to give? You will be passing the date string is the order date. And what is the input mask means what is your data date string would be in which format. This is my format of the input. And what is the format you want? Oh, I think we have not saved this one error message, right? Okay, let's run this process once again.
Okay.
This is the expected format.
Okay. Okay. Seconds and then okay. What is that SSS? The last
Means
one. Is
without
that the
time zone. They are actually expecting without time zone. But we are getting the from time with time zone we are getting it. Above one is below one is same. But here we are getting only seconds. This is your expected format. Here we are getting only seconds. Hours, minutes, seconds. Here we also are getting milliseconds. Milliseconds plus we are getting time zone. Hence the database as of now it don't require the time zone. So for that we are doing this map function. This map basically doing the translation of a data. Here also we have the SSS and the triple S also we have here. Same thing. Only
dates?
thing is this time zone was not there.
Okay. What is this date string? The format that we write. I mean the order date and all that.
So this is the input string you need to pass and once it is converted you need to map it to here.
Okay.
So not only the date, you can access all the types of here. Use the string fields and you can use the number. You can use some other connector also you can call it. You can use some custom scripting like Groovy script and
Uh,
JavaScript you can write. All these things you can do it. Some of the things will show you.
yeah. I mean, if you can show me a few more examples, that will be helpful.
Okay. So let's see. This time we just run the process. Now what we are getting? Iniquity constraint is violated. Why we are getting iniquity constraint violated? Since I think yesterday we already have some data. One not one yesterday we have inserted some dummy data into the
Mm.
table. So let me drop those records. Let me drop this record. Click on that and let's click on commit. So as of now we don't have any records here. Now run the process once again.
Maybe to avoid this duplicate records, what can we do? like let us say there are already some records, and if you again run, sometimes they become duplicate, right? So what do we do to kind of avoid those kind of situations?
So we'll show you that one. First thing is we need to query. We need to do lookup. I told you how do we look up yesterday. Like what is the basis condition? Count star. If it is already available, then we just have to skip it. If it's not available, then we will go ahead and insert that. Now
Yep.
we'll see you that you can refresh here. How many records are there? You can just see that we have 5 records are inserted. It doesn't matter. You
Okay.
can just go ahead and put multiple files here. What multiple files? Let's say sample file have any data, more data. Hmm. So this is the same we can see. Let's see if we don't have any other sample file, we'll consider this is a sample. You can see there is 1,000 rows are available here. We'll just see this. This is a sample file. The only thing is we expect column names here. So we'll just place the same thing into. So now we are just about to run another file. So yes, I thought of showing it the execution. Okay, see you can see there is a from this we have read a file, and then till the time we are about to here we got the flat file data, and even you can see the sequence of execution and map what and all it is doing. You can just see that we are using a date string field. What is the input we are passing? This is the input we are passing from the plot file. And after that, what is the is converting output is already converted to in this format without time check. The same being using and then mapping it to the target system. Because this is since I have multiple records, it is showing multiple entries, same actions multiple times. And then we just need to see how the query was generating dynamically. You can just see the query or how the query was generated. Insert into customer ID, customer name, number of order, order date, values, this parameter. It means this is parameters we can call it as a prepaid parameters.
What
Prepaid,
is this, Vima? This question mark parameters thing?
prepaid parameters at runtime, this question mark will replaced by the each profile element. In the database profile, we have four elements. Each and every at runtime, this uh, placeholder will be replaced by the value of the first element. Second will be replaced by the second element. Like this, all the profile data will be replaced with this. Replace this question marks with the data. All the profile elements. So at runtime.
What data,
See
what
what
elements are there? Profile elements.
see what and all elements are here.
No, those elements will be replaced. Okay.
So for that elements, this is element just that runtime you will get the values for this. So that values will be replaced with this question with the question marks will be replaced by the values. So your actual insert statement would be generating on the fly, and that will be inserting it. This is a template it is generating because you have selected the dynamic insert. Dynamic insert will be generating a query in this format at runtime because there might be a different rows. Each row have a different data, so we cannot hard code it. So that's the reason each and every time the parameter will be replaced dynamically with the question marks. So your actual the query will be generating on the fly.
Okay. So you got it from the log, right? The query and everything.
Yes. Now we are inserted the records in the database. Now let's put this file. Put this one and run this. Run this. You can see one of the particular element was unique constant. So we are not sure which one is exactly unique constant. You can see the high number of messages causing looping truncated. Now, what we need to do, first we need to see, in order to understand this one, first what we need to understand how this will work, how to work with query first, how to query the data. Then we can see this one. First, let's see how we can query the data from database.
So you're trying to write the same file again into the database. That's what you just did.
It was a different file.
Okay.
So some of the entries out of 1,000 entries, one of the entry was already available here. Now what is that entry available? Is that finite one? Okay, I think that we can remove that one. That would be inserted. Only that is a one record. But because of the one record, what happens? The one record entire transaction got rolled back. Let's see. Let's change this type to the profile type. Change number of rows. Let's see is there any change in behavior. Again, it's the same thing. So for running this process, first we need to understand how we can query it, and then we'll continue this process. So let's go
Okay.
create another process. So let's configure the database connector,
Mhm.
and then it would be set, and we can use the same connection here, and this time we'd be using the, you can see the parameters now. Parameters is basically the it will serve as a filter condition for the where class. So we'll just select the test atom and then go for the atom name. So atom name and use the connection details and make sure it will be. And when you click on next, and I don't want to see all the columns, all the tables from the all the users. I wanted to see only the users from the
Boomi.
only tables from the Boomi user. That's the reason I'm just filtering it. Once the connector this import wizard loading the tables, I can see only the tables which are created in Boomi user only. So select all, click on finish. We can do, and you can see this statement already generated. We did not touch anything. Select customer ID, customer name, number of orders, order date from Boomi customer. This is already generated. We did not touch this.
Hmm. Hmm.
We did not. If you want, you can customize your query.
Now, Vema, can you show me, I mean, like, if possible, an example how where they give you the parameter there, like, or
Yeah,
any particular example?
I'll come back. I'll come back to that.
Okay, cool.
First, we'll go step by step. Like if you want to restrict how many number of rows you want to be fetched, you can say set here. Want to do a grouping, you can just select it how do you want. The grouping basically disables uh, grouping, it removes the duplicate elements. Anyway, we already set a primary constraint at database level, there will be no point of setting a grouping here. And then if you want to set maximum rows, let's say even though if you have table has 100 rows and you want to fetch only 5 rows or 6 rows, then give the rows many number of rows you want to fetch. It's access only integer value.
What is the batch count, Vema?
Batch can how do you want to receive the batches? Do you want to receive in
Okay.
batches? So after that you won't be able to see the proper execution in database format. So for that what you can do, you can just create the map. As you're not able, database profile will be a bit confusing to understand the data. So let's create a new profile that accepts the database format and it translates it to flat file. Once save, what happened? Okay. Now it has inserted some, it has queried some records, but if you see the connection data, how the database profile looks like, this is how it looks like. Basically, it has some DB start and then the profile, then random number, a component. This might be the component ID, and then begin and out start. From here to
Mhm.
here, your actual data would be there. But from here to
Okay.
here, each column will be separated with this is a sim delimiter, and each row is separated with the slash. Each column separator would be this one, and each row separator would be hash. Means how many rows are there? This is a one row, other row, second row, third row, fourth, and then fifth row, and then end it. Let's see in more readable format in Flatfile. What was the data was generated? So this was the data we have extracted from database. Let's. I don't want to query all the records. Let's say I wanted to query a specific record now. I wanted to query a specific record. Let's see how we can check this. Let's say I want to query only the 201.
Hmm.
How we can do this is we need to enhance or customize this code. What we need to do? We need to give an where class where cust id is equal to I can put this one right 201. It's an every time when I run I'll be getting only the same value, but I want to take this value dynamically. How you can take this value dynamically? Using the prepaid parameter. For this question mark at runtime it will be replaced by the parameter called, always you give the parameter names like a p underscore cid, let anything starts with p, so it just you can identify it's a parameter. So at runtime this question mark would be replaced by the this parameter. But if you have multiple question marks, we have to maintain your sequence here. Let's say we have cust id, cust name also there. But if you given like this, and if you have added another parameter, but the database query will not validate properly. Whatever the first placeholder there, it will take the value will be replaced with the first parameter. What is for customer ID? It will be at runtime. It will replace the value that we provided for the that value of the parameter called p underscore cid. And customer name is also replaced with p underscore customer. But if I change this order, what happens
Okay.
this time? What happens this time? Customer ID column, the value of p underscore customer name column value will be mapping here. So it means this is you need to make sure the order should be proper. The database profile and data DB will not make sure any format. We have more
Okay.
than one. We have more than one column. You need to take the you need to make sure the proper format. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So maybe I'm trying to understand. Uh, Let us say, if you just put where customer ID is equal to 201, static, that's a static value, right?
Yes.
But why don't we put that like that? I mean,
Each and every time,
just
see, if you're running this, in our main process, while inserting a bulk field insert, each and every time I wanted to check if my whatever the row is available in my data, in this particular one, if this customer ID is available or not, if this customer ID is available or not. It means at any point of time, my customer ID will be dynamic. If I give a static value, that will not useful. Only it will each and every time that will give a return if it is available, it's true. But even though if I'm trying to insert that particular record, I'll get the unique constraint violation. I have to take my value dynamically. If you want, you can put the static value. There is no matter here. You can put the static value. But in this case, I want to accept the dynamic values. Now we'll see the save and close here. So where do we pass the value for this particular parameter?
Yeah.
Go for config, go for parameters. Shortcut would be import one. It will automatically search the value. Value would be 201. This is a query.
Yeah. Okay.
In the next step, you'll be having the extensions. When you run each and every time when you run, you can dynamically change the value. You can refer the here with an extensions. We'll show you that in the actual license account. As of now, we'll just see how we can hard code it here. Later point of time, we'll see how when each and every time when you run, right, we'll be having another options here under the test data. When you're passing a value, that value will be queried here.
Yeah. In the license edition, I think we have that, right?
Yes.
So can we see it tomorrow?
Don't worry, we'll see. We will show you all these details. Because anyway we'll be dealing that topic, extensions and properties, all these things. We'll see as much as we can cover in trial account, we'll see in this one, and later we'll cover each and everything.
Okay. Fine.
Because those are the fundamental, this are like the basic thing, and definitely I will not forget that one. Whenever we are dealing with the license account, we'll show it. That's hardly take 5 minutes. Now let's see whether the particular record that we are able to query it or not. Yes, we are able to query only the record that we have sent it here. It means, okay, now we know how to query. So let's come back to this process. Come back to the parent process. Now what I need to do is, I need to check each and every record before inserting if it is already there or not. If it is already there, I'll just go ahead and first, in order to check it, what is the shape we have? We have a shape called decision here. What decision will be? It's a simple if else condition. If this particular one condition gets true, then only it will be allowing. Otherwise, it will be ignoring this one. So what is the decision we are checking? Check,
So it's like an if else, if or true or false, right?
yes, check cast ID present. The first value, we'll just go here. First value, what we'll do, we'll just query the database. What is the query for the database? Is, if I'm open, let's open this one. Just take this query.
The select all thing that is there.
The first value, here I need to query the connector. I need to query or do the lookup. So what are all options we have? Do you have the connector call? Yes, go with the connector call. Do you have an option of database here? No, I don't have an option of database. Then how do I query it? So we have given another option here, SQL statement. Instead of giving the connector call through the connector call feature, we have given the SQL statement. If you want to call any stored procedure, you can call the stored procedure. Now we'll see the SQL statement. So what for this one, we need to use the same existing connection. But how many number of output columns will be required? How to make sure only one column should be written. Why? Because one column, at the end of the time, you need to compare this particular column with this one. Right? So that's the reason you need to get only one column. If you are getting all the columns right, then it will be difficult. Integer. So integer, what is the query you need to execute? You need to execute the query. You need to see, okay, sir, control B. We need to see only count star. Just need to see select count star from Bhumi underscore customer where customer ID equal to this particular customer. With this customer ID, we have to check whether that particular record is there or not. So for in order to, we need to pass a value here dynamically. So how do we pass the value dynamically? And each and every time I have to select the value from the profile. Every time I need to select the value from profile. With this value, I need to check whether this particular profile is there in DB or not. If it is already there in DB, then I need to stop this one. Let's go to profile element because I will be getting this information from the Flatfile profile. What is a value I need to pass? I need to pass the cust ID. Means that for this query, for this SQL query, I am passing the customer ID dynamically from the profile, and then I am getting the
Okay,
count, and then I am getting the count star. If this particular record is already available with this condition already available in database, count star will give 1. Else I'll give the 0.
this count star basically, what is this query? When you execute that, give the number of Bhumi customers with that particular
Yeah,
value, only one
first
output,
time
right?
we have seen, right? Count star will give you the
Uh,
number of records in
number
database
of,
with this
yeah,
matching.
true, true.
So if this
So
particular
here,
record is not there, the value will be 0.
let's say we put the output column as 2. So if there are 2 customers, then only it will give the value, right? I mean
See,
that's
it's
how
not
it
a two
works.
customer. This is a, you can see that clearly. Column. This is not a
Yeah, it's a column.
rows. It's output column. If you're giving multiple columns, how do you compare two elements with one value?
True, true. Okay.
That's the reason we need to pick only one. It can be count star. It can be a customer ID. You can make sure the statement would return only one column. The select statement would return only one column. That doesn't matter
Okay.
what column it is. It can be anything. In my case, I'm just using count star. So if this count star is equal to 0, count star equal to 0, it means check customer ID, check customer ID already not present. If it is not present, then only will go whenever the condition get true. Then count star equal to 0, then means if we don't have the, it means we don't have the proper record. This particular record is not available in database. Then go for false. And if any records are available, I want to write that information to a flat file. Write that information into a flat file. So let's put the message step here. Message step here. And then I want to write it to a disconnector here. Whatever the thing is with. Before writing a disconnector, I need to put the set property for the file name. But before I'm running, because if I'm querying like this, it will be difficult for my process to identify which and all, because the profile element always when you are have the mapping here, right? The profile element always give the value of the first customer ID. Always it will give the only first customer ID. It will not able to identify other one. So in order to identify other ones is we need to split the documents. We need to split the documents.
I didn't understand, Vema. What do you mean that it's only going to read the first thing?
Okay, I'll show you. So we need to split it. First let me configure and then we'll
Okay.
done without having what's the problem here. First let's configure each and everything. Then before running I'll show you what happens without this and with splitting. Now I want to write it at this, okay, and then I want to write it here, folder name also. So I'll just write error records into here. Into this folder, I want to create this folder also dynamically. Into this folder, I wanted to write my all error records here. And what would be the file name? File name would be, file name would be the whatever the file name, whatever the file name that I have read it, I have processed with the start shape. How do we get this? Using the document property that we already seen earlier. But this time, what would be the value here? The value would be from SFTP. This is the file name I want to read it. So with this configuration, what happens? It'll whatever the file name it has processed in the start shape, that information will be picking it up, and I am writing into the same file name.
Okay.
So before I am just mentioning that, what I can just mention, I can just put error underscore, then actual that file name. You can just arrange it. So error underscore the same file name, and I am writing it to this particular directory. Let's configure the send action here. Make sure you enable the check if directory is not available, and check here what is the current data here, because each and every time when the execution is coming through this way means the whatever the record that is coming, that record will be already there in database. Okay, now we'll just run before this. Okay, let's save this, run it. If you see, all the records are going this way only. Why? Because you need to see here what's the logic exactly it is performing. In SQL statement, we are using the first parameter is the SQL sheet. It's saying getting parameter for the position 1. This position 1 would be the, for decision we have configured the parameter with SQL query. So next thing is, for this parameter we have configured the cust ID as a dynamically to retrieve from the file. This is what we configured it. So what would be the value here? 501. So setting input parameter 1 is 501. Now what will be second value? Second value, and the parameter 1 value would be, you can see that now with this parameter 1 it is extracted from the file, and the value would be 501, and this 501 is passed to the query, and here you can see this, the query is getting executing now, executing SQL. So after that, what would be the value you are getting? The value would be query has returned the database has returned the query called 1. And what would be your value? We are checking the count star equal to 0. Okay. In this case, both 1 equal to 0, both are false. Because this particular record already there. If you see this one, finite one already there. That's the reason it is giving 1. Now when you are going in the next time, second parameter we are just checking second parameter hard coded to 0. 1 equal to 0, false. Next going in second. 1 to 13. It means if you see, it is not looking for other records if you observe. Okay, it's only showing one record. It is not looking for other records. Why? Because is profile element when you're configuring when you're trying to configure this profile element, not only in decision anywhere in set property anywhere, by default it will only consider first record, because in this case it is not verifying all the things, all the records sent here, and you can see there is a one empty file might have been generated here with all error records. Go here. What is the directory we created? Sync temp error records, and you can see we have created error records. But these are all error records? No, only one record was available. All rest of all the records are not exactly a failure records. These are valid records. Why? Because it has happened because of this condition it was diverting all the records into here. So we should not verify the profile element on a document that has the multiple records. And a document that has a multiple records. So first we have to split each document, and when you are splitting each document, what happens? You will be each and every row will be a one document. Each and every row will be a one document. Let's see how it will be now. Okay, why we are getting this error message now? Okay, first we'll see this. Unable to open a database connection. Listener refuse the connection with the following. No appropriate service handler found for this one. Saying some database error. Okay, let's forget about the database error. If you observe here, see because of this, what was the document? How many number of documents was coming before until this data process? You can see only one document were coming. What is the content? This was some file content. File content. After set property, what happens here? You can just see that. It's has n number of records. Let's verify one of the record. Each and every record has only each and every document has only one record. This time if I consider profile element, each and every for every document I'll be getting the corresponding value, customer ID. When you have a document contains multiple records, if you are trying to use profile element to query the specific element, it will not retrieve. Default it will only pick the profile element for the first row's corresponding element column data, not the next of the thing. So let's see why we are getting this database error. You can just see here how many shapes has executed. 1 to 25 of 238. Let's see the first execution what happens. First time it is retrieve the value parameter, and the same parameter is passed to the SQL query, and we return 1, and the second parameter is hard coded to 0. So 1 equals 0, then condition is false. This is valid. And the next one would be what is the value it is retrieving? 1001, and 1001 is passed to the query, and 1001 is not available, so it is returned 0. And the second parameter also 0, both are 0, the condition would be true. Condition would be true. And third one will be the 1501. Same pass to query. And query return the 0. And it is also checking with the 0. Both are true. So like this, wherever it is available, wherever it is available, if any records available in database, then it will verify. Otherwise, it will not verify all the records. This is why we have to use the Flatfile when you are working with Flatfile or XML profile. When you like, cannot say Flatfile, when you are working with the multiple records, we have to split, because we are doing a validation each and every record level. But in that case, each and every, you need to pass the document also each and every record level. Not all the documents contain multiple records. So now
So
what
even if it
happens?
is
Yeah, go ahead.
so even if it is from a database to database, like let us say from JD Edwards to Oracle or something like that.
So if you want to do any record level validation, then you have to be. Doesn't matter whatever the database or any other thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Do record level validation. Now we are doing record level validation, right? We are not doing entire document level validation. We are doing each and every record level record. We are just checking whether this particular record is there or not. So now what happens is, because we have 1,000 records, all 1,000 records is trying to opening a connection, because the simultaneous connection sessions will not be available here. Go for the connection pool, enable pooling. Maximum number of connections -1 would be unlimited. Means because of default it will take some of the connections. Now let me just save this one. Connection pool nothing but will be trying to reuse the connections. I'm just telling that if minimum connections and if maximum idle time, how much time we need to wait it. I'm just telling wait unlimited time, because what happens earlier, it did not wait and it just thrown error saying that connect, it's not able to connect. It's not exactly the connection failure, it's because because of the 1,000 sessions, 1,000 documents trying to execute, 1,000 queries executed. Select counts 1,000 times got executed for each and every record, because the sessions were not available simultaneously. At single point of time, 1,000 sessions was taking, and because the number of sessions were not available, it's just taking a wait time. We did not specify default configuration, did not have the wait time, and then it generated the error. Now what happens will, when we are getting this scenario, we may get multiple records here, right? We may get multiple records here. So I wanted to combine it. I don't want to generate my file with multiple times for one process execution. I wanted to combine all the records. Put again data process here. Now let's run this process. Okay, still it is having some issue. It's not able to connect to a database again. Uh, what we can do when you're handling, let's say when you are passing this file, file path to click, not file path to clipboard. But when you are running this file, ideally we should not get any error. See, if you are running this file also by getting an error, then we may need to think. We'll just restart the database server. If you're running for a small file, and if you're running for is giving fail for bigger file, it may be the connections is not handling simultaneously. It's running fine. It's able to query all the records. Because of the huge length it was giving problem. So how we can do this is we'll enable, we already given sufficient time to wait. Advanced options. Enable file pooling. Maximum number of connections. 10,000 connections we can give. 10,000 connections we can give.
Then -1 is unlimited, right? So it should come.
Yeah, ideally should come, but not sure. I think even everything is zero, nothing but it will be immediate or what it is. Let's go with the databases here. Go for connectors, public connectors, technology connectors, database connectors. Go with any connection. Additional options. Advanced tab. What is maximum connections? The minimum number of connections in the pool. Maximum ideal time. The length of the time in seconds that connection can remain open in its ideal state. When exists, set the whether to wait for the connection or immediately fail when the connection becomes exhausted. This is what happening now. Maximum connections. The maximum number of connections in the pool. For unlimited connections, set either -1 or 0. -1 or 0. Yeah, we already said that one. Okay, if let's see this one, still this is not resolving, then we'll see other option. We have to change the file name here this time. It's working for lower file, it's not working for fuse files. So we are getting what we can do. We'll do the batching here. How many records are available here? Let's say 1,000 records are available. What we can do, we'll just run one batches. In the license account, what we can do, we can use the flow control here. We have the one other thing called flow control here. What happens right here? What is happening here is here it is splitting and because we did not give any document count here. What happens? There is 1,000 documents are coming here, and 1,000 times actually 1,000 connections are going parallelly. Now, if you are using flow control, this will make your connections simultaneous to sequence. Have a different option whether you want to go parallel or sequence. So just use the flow control. What it will do, it will make your connections first one document. It has 1,000 document. Now it will take one document. After one document is processing all these shapes, then second document will be accepted. That kind of a behavior you can see with the flow control. You can achieve with the flow control. One is another thing what we can do without flow control is we can just do the batching here. This batching did not helpful, then no option. Batch 200. I will just make 200 connections. How do you batch it here is go for splitting here. When you're splitting the flat file and split by line and contain each and everything, how many you want to batch? 0 or 1 both are same. Each and every document you are make sure that only one row will be there. But this time I'll give the 200. So in every document will be split the documents into 200 records into one document. Now let's see is that helpful anything. This is not helpful, then only option for us is we have to use the flow control, or else we need to send the small file. This is what the problem, because we have advanced workflow. Whatever the shape size has not been enabled in the license account, all this will be satisfied by the all this will be handled by the license account.
So I think it is better if we do it on license account only, Rema. That will give us
So
more options.
yeah, you can try this one, the same thing, whatever. If you the only thing is just put a flow control here. Facing any issue, let's see, we'll see that one. Only thing is you just need to put flow control. The flow control, what is the option you need to select? You can just see the flow control, how it looks like. Flow control, you need to, this is the parallel processing. There will be two tabs will be there. Don't ignore the parallel processing option, and then select the run each document individually. This is the only option is there. These are all radio buttons. Run each document individually. You just need to select these documents. Once you select this document, right, then you will be able to, this is how it looks like. Because we are getting multiple document, each document you are just setting it to run at a time. So only that thing you need to do that. Only if you are just placing that will able to satisfy your requirement. You just need to put flow control with run each document individually. That will be sufficient. You don't need to have batching also. The other option what we can do is we can just split the bigger file into smaller files, and then you can feed the smaller files to a process. But in the real time, it won't need to splitting bigger files into smaller files that can support it. Only thing you have to make sure is you have to send each and every document individually instead of sending all the documents concurrently. That way you can achieve it. Let's say if you are just giving 500 rows.
So what if it is from database to database? You have millions of rows in.
That's what because see, you have to manage the connections level, database connections level. You have to manage it. If not, if you're not able to manage simultaneously, only thing you have option is you have to put flow control. It's a kind of a looping. I can say that flow control is kind of a looping. Each flow control, what happens? It will just loop it. When you just know no need of this one. Because of the simultaneous access, it is problem. It is not giving any other because if you are same if you're querying from one database and if you are sending it other database, still we are getting same thing. Let's see. We just put only 100 records here. You can able to run this process in your license account. Only thing is just put flow control. That's all. That will able to do all these things. Nothing is not able to handle it. 100 records is not able to handle it. So let's just run this one. But real time you won't face this kind of 100 records simultaneously. Maybe
Yeah, because 100
somehow
is the minimum.
because they might set some IT team, they might set additional configurations for allowing all these values simultaneously, but we are not sure what on additional configuration we can allow. Not only from Boomi process, from the database level, they'll give the number of sessions increases, that kind of setup they'll do it.
Okay.
Okay. Then if you have any issues, just let me know. So today we have seen how we can insert the records, how we can query the records.
Okay.
Tomorrow we can see how, because we have seen how splitting also. Tomorrow what we can see, we'll just load some 100 records into database, 100 records into database. What you can do, the small thing, right? You can take a bigger process, you can take a bigger file and chunk it to every 50 records, chunk it to every 50 records. You already know how to batching now. Oh, why we are having this many records now? That's the problem. It's not saved it, I think. Let's put 100 records here. Save. It's too much. I'll be sharing this file along with this video, so you can just put entire file and put the flow control. That will able to do it.
Yeah, I think that will help me, because yeah, that should help.
Tomorrow we'll see how we can query the large data from database. How we can query large data from database, and then how we can do the batching here. How we can generate multiple files. How we can generate XML files. How we can generate flat files. How we can generate JSON files. Different database to different. We can see all these details tomorrow.
Okay.